Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by today, and don't forget to subscribe. It's absolutely free. In this video we're going to make these delicious but lazy okra soup together, and as you can see, it's packaged with vegetables. I've got my ingredients here. I'm just going to blend the pepper, aniseed, and cumin seed together with my yellow onion, and this is the paste. And then I am going to be using some garden eggs. You can use anything you want in your soup. You can use mushrooms. Actually, I'm going to be adding some mushrooms as well, and here are the rest of my ingredients. I'll be mentioning them as I go along. And then I'm gonna go and prepare my meat for later. I'm using beef. You can use any meat of your choice. I'm just going to steam this with my blended mixture. I'm not using all of it. I'll leave some for my soup, and I've added my seasonings. I'll add Maggi cube and my ginger as well, and I'm cooking this on a medium heat for about 30 minutes. So I'm going to add my ginger. I went to my local store to get some fresh ginger. They didn't have it, so I just got the paste. I went there twice actually to get the same thing, and they didn't have it, so yeah. And then I'm just digging into cut my okra as well. So here I've got about a cup and a half of okra, and I am going to cut this into smaller pieces. You can cut it on the cup on a cutting board with your hands or in your chopper, whichever technique is best for you. Chopper or food processor, whichever technique is best for you is good to go. But I find it easy doing it either this way or with my hand. And also normally I do not get this type of okra. I get the Ghanaian one, but they did not have that one, and I was desperate to get some okra for myself, so I got these ones. And if you've noticed, the bottom or the tail, whatever you call it, or the what do you call it, the tip of the okra is all snap off. But I've gotten into the habit of doing that because anytime I go to the shop, I literally want to check that the okra is good. And if you kind of try to snap it off, it should kind of break off immediately. It shouldn't be stretchy or difficult to, as you can see there. That's what I'm demonstrating. It shouldn't be difficult to, it should just snap off. If it doesn't, then your okra is not good. You have to change it, I'm afraid. But yeah, that's just a good tip if you want to get yourself a good okra. So I'm almost done doing that, and I'm going to set aside. And then I am also using some kale in my soup. You can use spinach, and I'm going to soak this in warm water with half a teaspoon of salt to get rid of the dirt. And then I'm going to chop it into smaller pieces, drain the water, and set aside for later. I'm just removing all the hard bits that I don't want, but you can actually eat that. You can cook that with your kale if you want. However, I do not like it, so I take it off. It's personal. So I'm just checking on my beef. It's not quite ready yet. I'm just gonna give it a little bit more time, and once that is done, I'm going to pop it in the oven. This is personal. That's because I just wanted a little bit crunchiness outside of the meat really. So you don't have to do that. Once you're done cooking it, you can just set it aside for later. But I'm going to pop it in the oven for about 20 minutes on 180 degrees, just for that smoky or that rustiness of the skin, and and the browning of the skin, you know what I mean. So I'm just heating up 2 teaspoons of coconut oil. That's what I'll be using for this. You don't have to use it. You can just cook your okra without using this oil. And I'm adding some shallot onions. I'm going to fry that for about 1 minute. I don't want it to be entirely soft or brown, so I'm just gonna cook it for 1 minute. And then I'm going to go in and add my beef stock to it, and 1 tablespoon of crayfish powder. As you can see, I've also added 1 tablespoon of my blended mixture. So I'm adding my stock now, and I'll add about 1.5 cup of water and garden eggs, which I'll be bringing to a boil for about 5 minutes. Adding my garden eggs now. You can use mushroom, as I said earlier, instead of the garden eggs. You don't have to use both. And then I'm adding some fermented fish. If you do have any fermented fish or herring, you can add that. Herring will give you an amazing flavor to the dish, and the fermented fish will do as well. So I'm going to cover that and bring it to a boil for 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, I will be going in to add my okra. When I add the okra, I'm not going to let it cook for too long. I'm just literally going to let it boil for about 1 minute or 2, because I don't want it to go too soft. And then I'll just add everything to the pan. As I said, this is a lazy recipe. This is a lazy soup where you just chunk everything into the pot and let it cook. But it's actually so delicious. You don't have to be so serious with your cooking all the time. Just not even thinking about it makes a delicious meal or a delicious soup. So I'm adding my kale to it. And then at this point, I'm just going to add everything, really. I'll add my meats, and I'll be adding some seafood and my mushrooms as well, and some fish. Oh yes, I'm adding some green pepper as well, and obviously more onions for some crunchiness. Adding some pepper and my meat. This soup is actually a packaged concoction of meat, seafood, vegetables. You don't want to imagine how this tastes like. And I'm adding my seafood. You would be saying, how much more am I going to add? But please, I still need to add my fish. So yes, I'm adding my fish. I'm adding my salmon fish, looking good. I cannot leave that out if you ask. And my soup is just like that. It's done. I'm going to leave this to simmer for a few more minutes, about 3 to 5 minutes, and everything is done. And this is the end result of my soup. I had it with some chapati swallow. If you haven't tried this swallow, you must. It's definitely a must try. I will post a video later on how to make it and where to find it. Thank you very much for watching.